Name of my wife is Scarlett and my name is Rian. It's been 1 year since Scarlett and I were married. It was me who worked in a company and she was a teacher in a school. There was a Halloween party at my friend's house where I met Scarlett for the first time. A girl was keeping an eye on me for a while when I noticed she was staring at me. Despite the fact that she was Scarlett, she was beautiful. I was very attracted to her on that occasion, as her blonde hair and green eyes made me feel like I was in a dream. Upon approaching her, I exchanged numbers with her and we became friends. There was no doubt in my mind from very start that she was the perfect match for me, and I liked it the most that she always took good care of me in every way she could. After dating for 3 months, I arranged a party at my house to celebrate our 3 months relationship. During the party, I sat on my knees and asked her, "Would you be my life partner?" She was extremely surprised, and while crying, she said, "Yes, of course, stupid. I would like to marry you." As I hugged her, we were extremely happy and enjoyed the party a lot, especially since Scarlett said yes to our marriage proposal after 3 months of dating. It was only after 3 months of dating that we got married. In the midst of a decent and peaceful life, a storm blew into my life, and the storm changed everything. When a night she went to a party with her friends, I was surprised to find that my wife had not arrived home last night. There was a couple of girls she went out with, which is not unusual for her to hang out with them. It is normal for her to return home around 2 a.m. on these nights, so I waited up late to see. I called around 2:30 to make sure everything was okay. As she answered, I could hear people in the background. According to her, they went to a party, but they were leaving in just a few minutes due to late arrival at the party. It was 3 a.m. and she had not arrived home, so I texted her. The message was delivered, but no reply was received. I was very worried about Scarlett because this was the first time she did not come back until once I thought to call the police to complain about my wife missing, and she did not come home till now. But then I thought I should wait for some more time. The next morning around 4:47 a.m. I called again, and the phone rang a few minutes before it went straight to voicemail. It wasn't until 6:47 a.m. that my wife came stumbling through the door. As far as the exact time is concerned, I know it exactly because I was worried. She was wearing a dress that she had not worn outside of the house before, as well as mesh leggings. Upon seeing her, it was evident that the leggings had been torn and that her makeup had been smudged. The moment I saw her, I felt my heart sink. The first thing that crossed my mind was whether or not she had been assaulted. My question to her only resulted in her shaking her head no. Then I asked her what she had been doing at that time. There was no response from her because she was not in a state to respond. She was exhausted. As I worried about her and asked her many times what was wrong with her, I found her behavior to be very weird. It took me a while to get her to the bedroom because she was barely able to walk. In my mind, I had thought I would ask her about everything after she had gotten a proper amount of rest. It was clear to me that she had done something very wrong last night, but I wasn't sure what exactly it was. On the following morning, I did not go for the job because I wanted to stay with her for the rest of the day to find out what happened to her last night. Upon awakening, she looked unwell and she told me that her throat was sore. So I gave her some painkillers to relieve the pain she was feeling. Then I asked her what happened last night and she said that none of my business. As a result of the answer I got, I was surprised by it. I replied that this is my business as I am your life partner and I need to know every single detail about your life and your situation, about where you were and with whom. Don't you remember your situation when you got back at home after spending your whole night? Then she said that she was not feeling well and she needed some time to get well. She was not in the mood to fight. Thinking about last night was making my head spin. After a while, I decided to leave the house in anger. I returned to the house in the evening after having been away for a while. It was apparent that she wasn't behaving like she had before, and that this was a concern for me, as it was a red flag for me. Besides, I also chose not to talk to her because I was angry and upset with her because she wasn't able to tell me anything until now. After 2 days of being sick, she came to me saying that she was not feeling well because she had a sore throat. I took her to the doctor. He ran a few tests for her and then declared that she had a staphylococcus disease called oral chlamydia. I felt ashamed of her at the time since it was clear that this result was caused by her past activities. It did not take us long to get back home, and I started asking what the fuck she had been doing. She shrugged almost casually and said it was someone that she had met at the club at that night. She went back to his house and hooked up with him, and then Ubered home after that. Then she said that she did not want to fight with him anymore, so that's what she did. In a nutshell, it must be said that our relationship has come to an end. The process should not be overly complicated for us since we did not have kids and we rent. As much as I try to reason my way out of it, I still go ahead and pretend there might be something that can be salvaged from this situation. It has always been a red line for me that cheating would be considered as a breach of trust. Now that I have a clear picture of what I need to achieve, I think I will stick to it. My mental state was not in a good shape when I returned to work the next day. It's unfortunate that I wasn't able to get the day off from work because my boss is really sucky. As I was in complete mess at work, I was allowed to take the rest of the week as vacation. So I am very grateful for that. As soon as I got home, she was still in her room for a while. When she finally left the bedroom, she sat next to me on the couch. She asked me if we could talk things through. In a calm and measured manner, I explained to her that that wasn't how things were supposed to work in this situation. There were some questions I wanted to ask you. There was a need for honest response from you. Having been assured that she would be honest with me, I forged ahead. As I began to ask her questions, my voice began to shake the entire time, but somehow I managed to keep my voice steady. I began by asking a question. Is this the first time that she cheated on me? In response to my question, she began to cry, then told me she could not answer. During this course of our relationship, she cheated on me multiple times, and I found that to be very disappointing. It is best to take a moment to recall what she said. Only sex, a way for me to let off steam. Neither her words nor her actions meant anything to me. This response shook my core, and I was wondering, is she actually Scarlett? I looked around the room and felt as though I might not be dealing with my wife. The person I was married to was not in the room. There was something different about this person. The woman refused to tell me exactly how many times she cheated on me. All she told was that more than last night. Then I asked why did she do so. The answer that I received made me feel the more gutted. In essence, Scarlett wanted to have sexual variety in her life. I told her that she could do that, but it's not like our sexual life is dull. She was shocked, but she still went out and fucked other guys because she got the urge to do it, and it was fun. I push her when I got angry so she can do that, and I asked her to explain to me how she can be able to do that. What if I were to do all these things and sleep with a variety of girls? Was it okay for her to do that? Is it possible for me to do all these things as well? I would like to know, so tell me, how would you feel? I was surprised by her response to my question. In the course of our conversation, she began to ask me about counseling and therapy. There was no doubt in my mind that the relationship between us had ended. I was disgusted by what she did next. My ex tried to have sex. She put her hands on me and started trying to take off my clothes. After a couple of seconds, I felt like I wanted to vomit and I pushed her away as fast as I could. She just kept telling me over and over again that she would figure out a way to fix it, that we would come up with a solution together to solve the problem. It was impossible for me to do it. I told her by that time I was just sick of everything and I did not know what to do with myself. Eventually, I called her mother and told her what had been going on as well as the full story, including the cheating, the questions I had asked, and I told them to take her along with them. In my experience, I have always had a good relationship with the parents of my ex-wife. Consequently, both of them decided that they would drive back to town, which would take them about an hour and a half to get to. The waterworks that were starting in the bathroom as soon as I knew they were coming just irritated me because it felt hollow to me, especially given the answers I had received to my question. While her parents were on their way to her, Scarlett began to cry and pleaded with me to allow her one more chance because she was certain she would never do such a thing again. I had lost all understanding of the feeling by this time, and I wanted to spend the rest of my life away from her. Having spoken to her, I told her that she must pack all of her luggage and prepare to go back home with her parents because I couldn't live with a woman who wants to sleep with other men. Therefore, she asked her husband to allow her to do so. The girls that belong to this category are called sluts. In order to forgive her, she locked her in a room and started wailing and screaming in pain. I am not able to trust her again even though she told me everything honestly and completely. How can I put my trust in her once again? Would she really be better off if she were given another chance? It is impossible for me to repeat the same mistake over and over again. If I trust her, and there's no way I'm going to do that. After an hour, her parents arrived and were also enraged by the Scarlett's sins. It was also her parents who were concerned about her situation at that time. In response to hearing the arrival of her parents, she opened the door, came out and started begging me again. But I had already decided that I was going to divorce her, and I told her parents to get along with her. It was impossible for me to do anything anymore. She was not going with her parents. I cannot tolerate her presence anymore at that moment. So I packed her luggage and threw it out of the house. Then I got her to the outside of the house. In response, the parents of the girl apologized to me for their daughter's behavior and proceeded to get their daughter and take home. I felt a sense of calm and relaxation when she left my house that day, and I felt a sense of peace as well. There's just something about her presence that drives me insane. A week after the divorce was finalized, I sent the divorce papers to her parents' house. Life is so unfair. There was a time when we loved someone, but they broke our trust and loyalty to us instead of being loyal and loving. I am unable to trust anyone from now on. My decision to live alone for the rest of my life is a completely acceptable one to me instead of getting into a relationship.